There's nothing wrong with spending extra for things on your cruise, but you shouldn't waste your money on things that could be free or cheaper if only you knew the trick. And today, I've got a list of things that I've seen cruisers pay for that they could easily have saved money on had they known to do something a little bit different. Hey everyone, it's Matt from RoyalCaribbeanBlog.com. I love saving money on a cruise, and I love even more sharing with all of you these tips and tricks. It's like knowing the secret sauce to getting the things that you really need or want on a cruise ship. And sometimes there's no getting around some of these higher costs, but in other cases, I think that people assume certain things and they end up paying more than they should. Starting off with number one, booking a Royal Caribbean shore excursion to take you to the beach. When you're on a Caribbean cruise or even a cruise in the Mediterranean, oftentimes people really want to go to these amazing, beautiful beaches they've seen, whether it's a place in Mexico or in St. Thomas or over in Italy. There are some incredible beaches that are truly bucket list worthy. You want to be there. You want to enjoy your time there. Beautiful waters, pink sand, whatever the case may be. The thing is, you absolutely do not need to book a shore excursion through Royal Caribbean to get there because you're going to overpay for this. When you book a shore excursion through Royal Caribbean, there's a certain level of overhead that comes with it. And if you're doing like an organized tour to a cultural site or to somewhere really far and incredible, that's one thing. But when you're just going to the beach, more often than not, in my experience, you're overpaying for it because many beaches are easily accessible on your own by simply bypassing the cruise line and hopping in a taxi or even a Lyft, if that makes sense. In some ports, you could even walk to the beach. The point is, you can save a lot of money and travel on your own schedule by going to the beach on your own. All you need to do is do a little bit of research to figure out which beach you want to go to, probably pop it into Google Maps or at least go onto a message board or forum and just simply ask what's the best way to get there. But in my experience, especially in the Caribbean, hopping in a taxi and saying, I'd like to go to this beach, please, is really the easiest way. And if you're worried about getting back to the ship, you could certainly talk to your taxi driver about arranging a time and a pickup. In my experience, the taxi drivers love the opportunity to have a scheduled pickup because that's more money for them. Number two on my list is buying bottled water, at least paying for bottled water individually. If you have a drink package, different story, but some people simply buy bottled water on their cruise ship because they assume that they need to, otherwise they're not able to drink water. Bottled water is going to cost somewhere between $2 and $4 per bottle, depending if you get the no-name brand or you want Evian. The point is you really don't need to pay for bottled water. First and foremost, the water that comes out of the tap is extremely clean. Every cruise ship uses reverse osmosis to clean and sanitize its water, and I can tell you can drink straight from the tap. It is totally safe. But even if you don't want to do that, totally fine. There are water refill stations all around your ship. You'll find them in Cafe Promenade, in the Windjammer Cafe, and other places. The point is you can even bring a reusable water bottle with you, which is actually a great hack out there, where you bring a Hydro Flask or a Stanley Cup with you, and that way you're able to stay hydrated and fill your water bottles quite easily. Heck, you could even bring your own bottled water with you. Did you know that Royal Caribbean allows everybody to bring 12 bottles or cans or whatever of non-alcoholic drinks on embarkation day per cabin? So you can walk on your Royal Caribbean cruise ship with a 12-pack of bottled water that you can enjoy during your cruise, and then bring your Hydro Flask or whatever water bottle you've got in order to stay hydrated and refreshed. And if all else fails, you don't want any of that stuff, there's free water that you can get from these water stations with a cup. It's really easy. So the bottom line is you don't need to buy bottled water in order to, well, have water on a cruise. Number three is buying the drink packages that you don't need. What I mean by this is not to say that you shouldn't buy a drink package. I buy the drink package from time to time. The thing is, a lot of people assume they need it, especially for kids. I get this question so much here on this YouTube channel because I do a weekly live call every Monday at 7:30 p.m. Eastern, and I'll get questions about, hey, I'm going on a cruise with my family, and do I need to buy a drink package for my kids? Drink packages, of course, offer unlimited drinks during your sailing, and there's three different primary drink packages. The deluxe beverage package, which is the alcohol package, the Royal Refresher package, which is the non-alcoholic package, and then there's the soda package. And a lot of families buy these drink packages assuming they need to get one, otherwise they're not going to be able to drink really anything or just water on the cruise. Here's the thing. Number one, you can pay for drinks individually. If you're only going to drink, 3 or 4 drinks a day, you don't need a drink package. Just go to any bar, give them your SeaPass card, they'll charge you for it, and it'll be a lot cheaper, especially on days where maybe you're not even drinking 3 or 4. Maybe you're busy in port, and so you only have maybe a coffee in the morning and a beer at night or something like that. There's a lot of non-drinkers out there, and something wrong with that. So you certainly don't need to pay for a drink package. And this is doubly true of kids out there because once again, they assume, oh, kids need to have this. And I'm sure maybe your kids would like to have like 7 or 8 sodas a day, but do you want them to have 7 or 8 sodas a day? And more importantly, if they're not going to drink that much, once again, they can pay for drinks individually. I've got a couple more tips for how to bypass a drink package for you. Number one, you could bring your own wine on board. Royal Caribbean allows you to bring up to 1 bottle of wine or champagne on embarkation day per adult in your cabin. So that's a great way to save money on a alcohol bill. In addition, you could bring that soda or bottle of water we talked about in our first tip. And in addition to all of that, there's also specials on board. Look for happy hour specials and discounts at various bars. Usually, there's little signs around the ship. There's the drink of the day. And these offer discounts on drinks. So once again, you don't need to spend top dollar necessarily for drinks on your cruise. The next thing that could be cheaper is using the cruise line's airport transfers. Of course, when your cruise vacation comes to an end, or even before your cruise begins, you need to get there. Oftentimes, people fly into an airport and then book the cruise line airport transfers. Airport transfers are convenient because, of course, you book it right through the cruise line. They handle everything. They just tell you where to go. You get on a bus and go with everybody else. Now, airline transfers are really good maybe if you're solo because, of course, per person, it might not make a lot of sense. But you got a bigger family. You got a family of 4, not even that big. In many cases, it's way cheaper to go on your own. You could do a Lyft or an Uber ride. This is especially true here in the United States, where oftentimes the distance between the airport and the cruise terminal is not very far, or even the hotel you're staying at the night before the cruise. And likewise, coming back even, it's pretty simple to do that. Plus, another benefit of this tip is you get to move on your own schedule. With the cruise line transfer services, you're going on someone else's schedule, which again is not necessarily a major problem, but I always hate the hurry up and wait. Like, cut here, be here on time, you get on the bus, and you sit around for 15 to 20 minutes while they wait for the bus to fill up. Whereas with a Lyft or an Uber, as soon as your ride arrives, you're ready to go on your own schedule when you're good to go. How about room service breakfast? While there is a myriad of different choices you can make, there's actually a complimentary, yes, free option for breakfast if you opt for the continental option. For a lot of people, I think breakfast in their cabin is a great idea, but they don't necessarily want like an entire ornate meal. I mean, it's not against it, but for a lot of people, it's about getting a cup of coffee, some fruit, something light to have to start your day. And more often than not, I think it's really the idea than the actual meal. Like, wouldn't it be nice to have it delivered? Anyway, Royal Caribbean charges $7.95 for room service if you do this. However, there's a workaround for this because they still offer a free continental breakfast option. You'll see it within the continental breakfast menu, and it's a subset of options out there that give you basically the basics, but it's exactly what you need just to get going and enjoy a free breakfast to start your day. And finally, there's paying for a suite for a family of 4 and 5, and this is a pretty common thing to do because they go to the Royal Caribbean website or contact the traveler and say, hey, I've got a family of 4 or 5. I need to get a cabin for all of us because we kind of default to this idea of everybody needs to be in the same cabin. And when you're talking about a family of 4 or especially 5, you're basically going to end up in a suite. I mean, 4, you can squeeze into other cabins, but when you get to 5 or 6, oftentimes they just default to a suite because there are not many cabins that are of a lower category that can handle that many people. The thing is, while there's nothing wrong with staying in a suite, and if you want a suite, more power to you. But there's a money-saving opportunity here, and that is to book 2 connecting cabins instead. One of my favorite family cruising tricks is to book 2 connecting, whether they're inside rooms or balconies. They're almost always going to be cheaper than a suite, and it's going to give you 2 separate bedrooms and 2 separate bathrooms. And the bathrooms alone are worth doing this trick for, especially if you've got older kids in there. But who wants to share one bathroom with like 4 or 5 people? To me, that's crazy talk. But really and truly, not only will booking 2 connecting inside rooms save you money, it's also going to save your sanity as well when it comes to that bathroom stuff out there. There's my list of things that I think a lot of cruisers waste their money on that could be free or cheaper if they only knew the trick. Let me know in the comments below, what are your best hacks and tips and tricks for things that could be, again, free or cheaper if only you knew the answer. While you're down below already, hit the like button, subscribe to our channel, and turn on notifications. That way YouTube lets you know of a brand new video to share. It's totally free to subscribe and to turn on bell notifications because it just helps you know when we have new content out there. This has been Matt from RoyalCaribbeanBlog.com, and we'll talk again real soon.